£18 million of public money, a club owned by Hollywood billionaires, and suddenly Wrexham's fairy tale had become the most divisive story in British football. Alright Wrexham fans, if you love the Red Dragons like I do, hit that subscribe button and let's dive into what's become the biggest talking point in Welsh football right now. The news broke like a bombshell. Wrexham AFC, our club, the one owned by Reynolds and McElhenney, two men worth billions between them, has been handed £18 million in public funding to help build the new cop stand at the racecourse ground. Let that sink in for a moment. Public money, taxpayer money, going to a privately owned football club whose owners could write that cheque without thinking twice. The reaction has been complicated. Some fans are buzzing, seeing this as recognition of what Wrexham means to the community. Others, they're asking the questions nobody wants to hear. Why does a club owned by Hollywood billionaires need our money? This isn't just about one stand. This is about what Wrexham has become, a global phenomenon caught between its working-class roots and its Hollywood presence. And now, everyone's got an opinion. But to understand how we got here, we need to go back. The racecourse ground, the oldest international football stadium in the world. For generations, it's been the heart of this town, a place where proper football fans have stood through rain, disappointment, and the occasional moment of pure magic. When Reynolds and McElhenney took over in 2020, everything changed. The documentary, the global attention, back-to-back promotions. Suddenly, Wrexham wasn't just the National League club scrapping for survival. We were in the Championship, competing with clubs that have proper infrastructure, modern stadiums, 4 complete stands. And that's been the problem, hasn't it? 3 sides of the racecourse are brilliant, but the cup, it's been a building site, a gap in our ground that reminds everyone we've climbed faster than our stadium could keep up. Phil Parkinson's always been clear. If we want to stay competitive in the Championship, if we've got ambitions of reaching the Premier League one day, we need a proper ground. Every club with those dreams has 4 stands. It's not luxury, it's necessity. So the plan was set. A brand new cop stand, modern facilities, capacity increase, everything Wrexham needs for the level we're competing at now. Behind closed doors, conversations were happening. The club, the council, the Welsh government, all discussing how to make it happen. The price tag? Significant. The timeline? Urgent. And somewhere in those discussions, a decision was made that would change everything. Here's where it gets controversial. The Welsh Government and Wrexham Council announced they'd be contributing £18 million in grants towards the new cop stand. Not loans, grants. Money that doesn't need to be paid back. The justification: this isn't just about football. It's about creating a venue capable of hosting international matches. It's about jobs, economic regeneration, the Wrexham Gateway project. It's about preserving the cultural heritage of Wales's oldest stadium for future generations. But here's what nobody expected: the backlash. Stefan Borson, a football finance expert, didn't hold back. He called it very unusual for the government to fund this type of project through grants unless it's commercially unviable. And in his words, that clearly doesn't apply here. Think about that. A club whose owners, Reynolds and McElhenney, collectively own billions in liquid assets. A club that's just been promoted to the Championship, with global exposure and commercial deals most League One sides could only dream of. Could they have funded this themselves? Borson thinks so. It was very likely the owners would have paid for this out of their own pocket because it's fundamental to the football club. And then came the question that's been echoing across social media. In an economy this tight, with public services stretched thin, is it appropriate to prioritise funding a privately owned football club? What would you have done if you were making this decision? Does Wrexham's importance to the community justify public investment, or should billionaire owners foot the bill themselves?
The Wrexham supporters were divided, and that's putting it mildly. Some fans celebrated, arguing the club is more than a business. It's the beating heart of a working-class Welsh town. The racecourse isn't just Ryan and Rob's, it belongs to everyone who's ever stood on those terraces. If public money helps preserve that for generations, that's a win. Others felt uncomfortable. These are the same fans who've watched hospitals struggle for funding, who've seen schools cry out for investment. Seeing millions go to a club owned by billionaires, it didn't sit right. Social media exploded. BBC Wales covered it. The Leader ran pieces dissecting every angle. National media picked up on it because of course they did. It's got everything. Hollywood, public money, class politics, football. The club responded with a statement. They emphasised this is part of the broader Wrexham Gateway project, regeneration for the entire area. The funding includes upgrading floodlights, the pitch, infrastructure to meet standards for international events. It's about jobs and economic impact, they said. Wrexham Council backed them up. Without grant funding, the club intended to refurbish the Kop to a standard suitable for the league they were playing in. However, that wouldn't meet standards for hosting international games. The Welsh Government added that Reynolds and McElhenney are providing the majority of funding, but the public contribution is the crucial difference to meet international match standards. Borson wasn't buying it entirely. He questioned how many international matches would actually be played at the racecourse. He said, "I'd say they won't play more than one match per season for internationals, if that, because the stadium capacity is clearly a fraction of Cardiff's." So, where does this leave us? For Wrexham, the stand gets built, the capacity increases, we meet championship standards and potentially host Wales internationals. The club projects forward with infrastructure that matches its ambition. But there's a cost beyond the financial. This has complicated the narrative. Wrexham's story has always been about community, resilience, a club rising from the ashes with its town behind it. Now there's a tension between that story and the reality of modern football, where even fairy tales need millions in public funding. This reminds me of debates we've seen across British football, when West Ham moved into the Olympic Stadium with public subsidies, when councils invest in local clubs as economic engines. The question's always the same. Where's the line between community asset and private business? What happens next? The stand gets built. Presumably, Wrexham continues pushing for Premier League football. Reynolds and McElhenney keep investing, but this controversy won't disappear. Every time public money and football mix, people have opinions. And honestly, maybe that's healthy. Maybe it's good that we're asking these questions about who football belongs to, who should pay for it, and what it means when Hollywood meets a Welsh working-class town. At the end of the day, this is what being a Wrexham fan is all about: the complexity, the pride, the uncomfortable questions we don't always want to face. We're not just a football club anymore. We're a global story, a community trying to hold on to its identity while reaching for dreams we never thought possible. And sometimes that journey gets messy. From Hollywood to the racecourse, through controversy and triumph, this is our story. And whatever you think about the funding, one thing's certain: Wrexham matters. To this town, to Wales, to everyone watching. Let me know in the comments what you think. Was this the right decision? Should public money fund football clubs owned by billionaires? Hit like if you're back in Wrexham no matter what, and I'll see you in the next one. Come on, you Reds!